Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. Wow, what a week. What a week. We've got a lot to cover on today's program. And really, it's just my thoughts. I actually didn't have a fantastic amount of time to prepare this week. As you know, I spent the last few days in southern Missouri with Jim Baker doing live election night coverage and got back in late last night, and we're filming this morning. So here we go. Yeah, I'm not in a jacket because I'm treating this show a little different. This is just my thoughts, kind of the afterglow of what's going on. And you guys better buckle up because we've got a lot of work to do. If we don't do a full half hour today, that's fine with me. I just don't want to leave you guys hanging after such a momentous, all the momentum that's been building for the last few months. So I'll go ahead and start off by saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God. What we saw this week in the election was nothing short of a miracle. America did not get what we deserve. We didn't. We got God's mercy. That's what it was. Enough people woke up. And I want to go ahead and say to the naysayers that watched the program, I got some flack last week after saying, hey, I think Donald Trump there's a good chance he's going to win all 7 swing states. Got some flack. And I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't have said that a few months ago. You know, it wasn't just a hopeful prediction. I mean, I had my ears to the ground, studying everything, looking at the polls, seeing everything I could, analyzing every piece of information I got. And the last couple of weeks, I said, okay, you know what? I think he's going to win, and I think he's going to win all 7 swing states. And that's what happened. So let me tell you this. What comes next? Well, I'll tell you what I project. I'm not saying it's from the Lord, but I think it's a good chance. The left has firmly established that Joe Biden is not fit to be president. I mean, that was the singular issue why they forced him out. So now that Trump won, I believe that they will invoke the 25th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. We have that to look forward to, meaning that the vice president and the majority of cabinet secretaries declare the president, which is currently Joe Biden, unable to perform his duties. And they will try to do as much as possible in that time to prevent Trump from doing as much as possible for the next 4 years. And I think that Kamala Harris will shove federal judges up the wazoo to prevent anything that she can. Next thought I have for today. We were wondering a few months ago why Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, in a letter to Chairman Jim Jordan, the House Judiciary Committee, wrote that he regretted working with the Biden-Harris administration, which, quote, repeatedly pressured Meta's teams for months to censor COVID posts, including satire and humor. He said, I believe that government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. We were all kind of shocked at the time. What in the heck is happening? Zuckerberg turning it against the deep state? Hello. That signaled that the globalists were in deep trouble. They were concerned. And here's the thing. I said on the program, I said there's 3 or 4 different speculations on why the heck Mark Zuckerberg would do something like that. And I postulated, and I think I was right. I said, listen, I got my jacket on today, making sure Andrew Bellers can still hear me with my microphone. Apologize, Andrew. He's got to edit the whole program. I said, I think that if there is one singular platform that would stand, if you know what I know, it's not like X, it's not like YouTube, it's not even like the Google search engine. As far as the analytics go, if there was one singular platform that would show where the majority of the country was at, where they were sitting politically, to get a true good sense and a feel for what's going to happen in the election, it would have been Facebook. So that explains why Zuckerberg would have done that, because he would have had the information that, you know what, looks like from my back end, from not his back end, but back end in the website, and his analytics, that Trump has this in the bag. So yeah, those are the theories, and that's where we're at. Hey, listen, I'm going to be sharing something in a few minutes that many in the Christian world, a lot of my friends disagree with me about. Even, well, according to statements, even Donald Trump would disagree with me about. But I feel strongly about it, and I want to share that with you. I want to spend the next 2 minutes, though, and tell you that we're in our end of year fundraiser. And we have to raise $60,000. That is what we really need to do it. And if we don't, then it's going to be a struggle next year. And Mark Eskinder, our friend from California, through the Alice J. Hamilton Charitable Trust, has pledged the first $10,000 in matching funds towards this $60,000 endeavor that we need to do before the year ends. And I want to say thank you. We announced this not even quite 2 weeks ago, and we have raised $7,820 so far to go towards that $10,000 matching fund. Unbelievable. I'm so grateful for Dan and Marianne, who gave $1,000. Another Marianne and Gilbert, dear friends of mine, who donated $500 to the matching fund. Sherry, thank you for your $50 gift, and thank you for your sweet letter. I'm not going to read it on air, but she was just saying how things are really tight right now, and but as an act of faith, she has pledged to give $50 every month this year. So I was encouraged by that. Thank you, David and Carol, for $400 towards the matching fund. Jan, you're 20. Carolyn and Ralph, thank you for your donation of $500. Denise, blown away. I went to the post office box before this show aired. Denise, you gave $5,000. Wow, you were so encouraging. I want to thank my mom and dad, Dennis and Jana Drew, for donating $200, and my grandma Sue, who's donated $150. We have raised $7,820 so far, and all of that has been matched by our friend Mark Eskinder. So we still have roughly $2,200 left to finish out this $10,000 match, which will mean 10,000 plus 10,000 is 20. We still got a long ways to go, people. $40,000, and it's gonna and watch other shows. I tell you exactly where it's going to. The primary cost is to stay in millions of homes through Comcast cable. That is the chunk of it. To remain on the PTL television network, Roku, and Apple TV, and all the subscriptions we have. It will pay for our editing through the year of 2025, and it'll pay for all of our closed captioning, which is a legal requirement for any syndicated television program, our anticipated accounting fees, and all of our web developer fees that are due at the first of the year. And yes, so we need your help. Get involved. Okay, I want to get back to it. I'm probably going to offend some people. I've heard a lot of my friends say it this week. And they say, if the church would go out and vote, this would be a sure thing. When people say that this election lies in the hands of the church, when Donald Trump says this election lies in the hands of the church, they are actually simply looking at the numbers of professing Christians. You know, you can't see the heart. I disagree. I do not think that this election, it wouldn't have made a big difference. I'm of the mind that if everyone who identified as Christians voted, there would have probably been more blue states. God might have saved America by keeping professing Christians away from the polls. I would also venture to say that the majority of Christians who are actually born again and actually have a biblical worldview, they do vote. Now, obviously, there's still stragglers. But whenever you're looking at these ginormous numbers, and Donald Trump saying, it's up to you, Christians, and all of my friends who say this election lies in the hands of Christians, listen, if professing Christians voted their worldview, we'd have more blue states. So like I said, the Christians that are biblically sound, that are born again, that do have a biblical worldview, the majority of them, the vast majority do vote, and they already vote red. Think about all the different denominations in America. There's way more than half that lean right. So here is a fact that will back up what I'm saying. The percentage of Christians who believe the Bible is literally true is declining rapidly. Of all Protestants, only 30% believe the Bible is actually true. So whenever you're talking about voting your values, Christians, vote your values. The majority of Christians in America don't have my values, don't have your values. 30% of Protestants actually believe that the Bible is true. Only 15% of Catholics believe the Bible is literally true. Isn't it backwards? I mean, listen, I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say it, and I said it, and that's it. You see, America's core issue, next thought of mine. Many issues in America will now have the opportunity to be fixed because Donald Trump is now the president. But this does not fix our core problem. Only revival can do that. I'm going to be sharing some scriptures because the church, I'm very excited. It is a miracle what took place. I am so excited for America's future. But as a realist, I understand that this is going to fix a lot of things. But as far as the future of America, not just the next 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, as far as the future of America, we are still sick because the church is sick. America, I've said for many years, has always went in the direction that the pulpits were facing. And the majority of the pulpits throughout America are not pointed in the right direction. Rather, in a postmodern, humanism, the mixing of the world direction, which has twisted them to a place that is far from God. And the sheep beneath these men are a product of that. Another controversial statement I'd like to make on today's program, back to the issues. Abortion is my number one concern. It is. Life, right? I mean, there's nothing more precious to God. God knew you before you were even formed in your mother's womb. And then it says in the scriptures that he knit you together in your mother's womb. Abortion is my number one concern. And I don't know how she was going to do it, but Kamala vowed that she was going to basically overturn the decision that the Supreme Court made, that this goes back to the states. She was going to overturn that entire decision, and she was going to make it a federal law that abortion was legal in all 50 states. So obviously abortion is my number one issue. Another major issue to mine is parental rights, right? Dad of 2 kids. Parental rights is huge for me. I don't want to be surprised one day that one of my kids has backslidden and the schools are keeping it from me and they're supplementing my son or my daughter different hormonal treatments. Now they can transition kids and give them these hormone treatments without even letting the parents know. Without even letting them know. And in some states, they can take custody away from you if you don't agree, if you don't affirm your children's decisions. This is a major issue that was on the line. So abortion, the parental rights, keeping our kids away from sexual perversion, like basic things like, I don't want my daughter to be in a locker room and see a man's junk just hanging there. Like, oh, Zach, you can't see that. That's what they want. That's what they're doing. Why can't I say it? That's what they're doing. That's what they want. I'm going to say it. I don't want my daughter to see that walking through a women's locker room because a guy is mentally disturbed and thinks he's a woman. I don't want that. These are big issues for me, my number one concerns. But all that to say, the biggest issue in this, bigger than abortion, oh my gosh, what are you saying, Zach? I'll explain what I mean, was illegal immigration. That was the big thing in this. Are you saying that illegal immigration is more important than babies? No, I'm not saying that. You'll get it. Because that one issue of illegal immigration would affect everything I care about, that I hold most dearly to my heart. Abortion being my number one issue was not my number one concern. You'll understand in a minute. You see, this election, I was sitting there on the panel of many guests and a lot of people phoning in, and Michael Snyder and Rabbi Jonathan Cahn and people on the set with me like Derek and Sharon Gilbert, and it was a really great night. And what were we doing? We spent the most of the night watching the 7 swing states, like we all were. We were watching the 7 swing states on election. Never again would we have had to have done that if Kamala Harris would have won in this election. There would never be such a thing again as a swing state. Whenever 21 million illegal aliens are granted amnesty and legalized, right? And they've shipped them to the swing states, we would have never had another election in which we were even remotely in control. We would have never had a conservative sitting president ever again. They will try to continue with abortion, the lack of parental rights and everything. I understand that. But this, if they would have won, this would have set all in stone. It would have set everything in stone. So like I said, abortion being my number one issue was not my number one concern. Because if Kamala would have won this election, granting 21 million illegals amnesty, there would have never again been a swing state to determine elections, and they would have complete and total control to push all the abortion, to push all the lack of parental rights, to push all of the sexual perversion. They would have continued with it. They would have had complete power year after year, decade after decade to do whatever they want, and we were this stinking close. But because of God, because of his mercy on us, for reasons I cannot even understand. His ways surpass our ways. He had mercy on us. And so now, Christian, it is not the time to relax and kick our legs up and say, you know what, we got it. We did it. No, now is the time to get to work. And also, how in the world can 21 million illegal immigrants be deported? It can be done. Did you know that Bill Clinton deported and or returned 11 million illegals? Bill Clinton. Many do not know that. Yeah, he did it, 11 million. And it's funny how the way you have to search it on Google, because they will classify it in like 3 separate categories of some were deported, some were returned, some were this and that. So you can't ever, but if you add them all together, it's 11 million. It's 11 million. And I heard another very famous political pundit talk about that very same issue that was in my head. It is. It's 11 million people. He's done it. It's been done, and we can do it again. My next thought is this: to reverse the curse. You see, Deuteronomy 28 details the curse on a nation. And there's actually 54 curses. You know, it talks about how the Lord will send on you curses, confusion, rebuke, and everything you put your hand to until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin because of the evil you have done in forsaking him. The Lord will plague you with pestilence or diseases, which is pestilence, like swine flu, Ebola, right? Like COVID-19. Talks about how famine will come. The curses of what it looks like when a nation is cursed. It says that the Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will not come at them from one direction, or you will come at them from one direction, but you will flee from them in 7. It says, you will be unsuccessful in everything you do. Day after day, you will be oppressed and robbed, and no one will rescue you. I'm going to continue with Deuteronomy 28. And it says this, another sign of a curse upon a nation, where it says that the foreigners who reside among you will rise high above you, but you will sink lower and lower. They'll lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will be the tail. You know, America used to be the greatest lender. It says they will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe the commands and decrees he gave you. And verse 49, the Lord will bring a nation against you from far away, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand. What do we want? What are we looking to restore now? It's clear that America is under portions of that curse from God. We are looking to restore America's foundation when this was a blessed country. And there's only one way to do that. Let's read some of the blessings, in Deuteronomy 28, where it says, you will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. Are we looking for that for America? Absolutely. Where the fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land, and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Where your basket and your kneading trough will be blessed. You'll be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. Verse 7 says this, the Lord will grant that the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. Don't you want that for America again? That they will come at you from one direction but flee from you in 7. Don't you want that for America? The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he has given you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people as he promised you. An oath, if you keep the commands your Lord your God and walk in obedience. Verse 11, the Lord will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground, and the land that he swore to your ancestors to give you. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. And when seeing those blessings and reading America's history, we have fit that description for massive chunks of our history as Americans. And so if we look at the curse that we're under and how the alien will rise higher and higher against you, and what do we want? We want the blessings to return. The only way to do that. And I'll say this before I even get to that. We're going to be able to fix a lot. We're going to be able to fix a lot. We talk about how, we're given the tools right now. America got back on track with Donald Trump. We now control the Senate. We have maintained control of the House. But at the end of the day, it still is not going to fix our core issue until we take the first 2 verses of Deuteronomy seriously. To be able to receive those blessings upon this nation, he starts off by saying this, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. It's contingent upon this agreement. We can expect these things. We can fix America, not just put Band-Aids on everything, but we can fix America if the church returns to God. If you fully obey the Lord your God and you carefully follow his commands, that is how we will be restored. Listen, I'm running out of time for today's program. Like I said, spent the week with Pastor Jim, and it was awesome. Just got back late last night, and so I didn't have all the hours this week to figure out this content. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to jot down some thoughts. I'm going to jot down some thoughts, and I wanted to say a miracle happened. We need to be praising God. Now is the time to get to work. That there is clear and evident curses upon our nation. That a controlling Oval Office and Senate and House can have radical differences with. But we will never completely eradicate this cancer in this country without turning to God. And a revival is going to have to take place. I'm going to end the program by saying, listen, started off in the middle of the show saying we are in the midst of a fundraiser. We've got to raise 60 grand. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money for a lot of ministries, but it's a lot of money for us. And we've got to raise 60 grand. And right now, we have a $10,000 match going. And by the grace of God, we've been able to match $7,820 of that. So roughly, I guess it's $2,180. The next $2,180 that come in to go towards our expenses for the next year of 2025 so that we can remain on air and that we can do what we need to do. The next $2,180 that come in is going to be matched by Mark Eskinder giving through the charitable trust of Alice J. Hamilton. Get involved. And once we raise that means we'll have 10 and 10. But we'll still have a crazy long road ahead of us. And we only have about 5 or 6 weeks to get there. So please get involved. Just go to ZachDrewShow.com. ZachDrewShow.com and click that bright orange donate button and ask God what a generous gift you can make. Collaborate with the Lord on this. See what's a challenge to you and give. Give into good soil that will reap spiritual benefits. It's a yield of I think it's, talking about financially, I believe it's more of a yield than a 6% Roth IRA, a spiritual Roth IRA where you're going to get a 6% return. I believe sowing into good ministry, you're going to receive a spiritual yield of a 10 times, 30 times, 100 times fold. And that doesn't always look like finances. I can speak from experience, it doesn't look like that. But I believe that whenever you give, that God will bless you. Doesn't mean you're going to have hardship. This isn't a prosperity gospel. You're going to have hardships. You're still going to get a headache every once in a while. But I believe that whenever you give, that God blesses you in return. And I'm asking you now to give a sacrificial gift this year to help us continue for the next year of 2025. You can also give by writing into the Zach Drew Show by old-fashioned way mail. Sent to Zach Drew Show, P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois 62525. And in that little memo section, it'd be a great help if you could just put that this is for the matching donation. We need your help. Get involved, and I will see you all next week. I'm looking forward to it.